Well, hello there, it's Ina here, and welcome to my art room. So today I want to decorate another clipboard. I have done a couple of these before. It gives me a very nice substrate to work on. And as you can see, I started by decoupaging bits and pieces of craft paper to the background. I actually did this off camera a few weeks back when I had an afternoon together with some of my friends. Now, I'm sure you know how to glue down papers, and so you really didn't miss anything important. Either way, I am continuing with gluing down a few more papers. This time I am picking some transparent ones, as I like the effect I get by layering these, as you can still see the design underneath, and it just adds some extra interest. Like always, I use my Mod Podge to do the collaging. Now, I have a small group of artsy, crafty friends, and we try to get together regularly. And the goal is always to make something while we're all together. And I often get something started, but I don't think I ever completed anything because we always get to chit-chatting and yeah, we are not so ambitious about getting anything completed. We just enjoy being together. So I often end up with something I have to finish later on, but that's all right. It's nice sometimes to have a start on something and not have to start completely from scratch. Here you see me applying an extra layer of my Mod Podge, and when that is dry I get rid of the excess paper again using a nail file. Now, one reason I gave this piece an extra layer of protection with the sealer is so that I can use this next product, which is an antique wax, and it's actually meant for woodwork, but if applied gently with a soft cloth like you see me do here, it will give you that nice aged and grungy look. It also works really well on crumbled up brown craft paper. I used it like that before on book covers and I really like the effect. So I make sure this is really dry before I go on to the next step, which is some glimmer mist. Now, my bottles get clogged up very easily, even though I shake them carefully, but the glimmer or glitter on the bottom just plugs up the hole. But I found a bigger spray. As you can see, the hose is bigger and it has a slightly bigger hole. And that little difference makes all the difference. It sprays beautifully now. And as I only have a couple of those bigger size ones, I just wash it out when I'm done. In my little water container, I just spray the water through like this until it's clear, and so I can use it for all the different colors. And I just keep the old sprayers to close up my glimmer mist bottles. Now, between the sealer and the wax, the glimmer mist kind of stands on top and it will need a little while to dry. So I start with my next piece, and as you can see, it's made out of wood. It has two little hinges, and I believe it was a type of altarpiece. It had some pictures of saints on them, which I had to get off. I had to actually soak it in water to do that, and it made it all look a bit older, especially on the edges, but that's okay with me. So I'm using some a little bit thicker gel medium, and I want to attach this photo. Well, it's not a proper photo, it's taken from a book, but it has this nice image of this lady, vintage lady, and this of course needs to dry really well. Now, this was very fiddly to get this just right because I had to cut it open, of course, afterwards, and it wasn't easy to see exactly where I had to go. I could kind of see it, kind of feel it, and yes, more or less it came out okay. I wished I could have taken the hinges out and done it on two separate pieces, but those hinges were embedded into it. They didn't have screws I could see, and that's the reason why I didn't want to take this little thing apart. But it worked, and I tried to clean up the edges a little bit, yes, and it wasn't exactly perfect. And that's the reason why I will be adding a little bit of ink to the edges, kind of to cover up my very small mistakes. Next, I also want to add a photo to the inside, and again I have an image that looks a bit vintage. This one actually came with a picture frame. I've gotten it some time, and it shows a little girl, and I like to think that she and the lady on the outside are the same people, same person. It's just her in her youth and in her later years. Now, having that in my mind helped me to spin a story that will inspire the completion of this project and helps me decide what to add to it. All right, I think I got to a point where I will turn you over to some music and let you enjoy the process. It's all pretty simple from here on. And like always, I will add all my mediums or anything you may need to know in the captions. And I will talk to you in just a wee bit. Enjoy. Now, I purposely left my decision-making process in for you to see, even though I sped it up, but sometimes it takes me a while to make up my mind. But finally I did, and I placed everything where I wanted it, and this is the way it looks now. Everything is dry. And I will give you a final look. The back side is just the way it was originally. Here on the top, you see how I changed the color of the clip. I put that 4 watch face on it and a little chain. I have the stenciling with texture paste. I have those layers of papers in the background, the nice teal color from the spray, and then of course all the different elements. Here's the big one with the lady, which to me looks like she knows what she's doing. She's not a pushover, and I don't think she was as a little girl either. That face to me shows determination, and I think she lived her life fully in charge. At least that's what I like to think. So with that in mind, I of course picked different elements that to me help paint the picture. There is the empty bird cage because the bird has flown out the window. I also picked some ephemera that shows independence. There is a money order or check up here on the top made out to a woman. There is a letter written to someone in Europe. Maybe she did some traveling. And then of course there is my little title. Now, especially in her days, bucking the tide and doing things your own way was definitely not easy, and she may have lost some feathers in the process. But feathers were also used to write with, and I like to believe that she had an interesting life story to tell. Now, of course, if my story has any relevance, I will never know, and it's very questionable, but these old vintage photos always inspire me to think up stories of what their life was like in those days. All right, enough of my imagination. I do hope that you enjoyed watching the process, and hopefully some of the steps I took inspired you to do some art. Thank you so much for coming and spending time with me. I will be back soon, latest by next Friday, with another project. In the meantime, please stay well, stay creative, and bye bye for now.